In a shocking turn of events that has sent shockwaves through the Chinese entertainment industry, beloved actors Su Kai and Songyun have reportedly come forward with explosive allegations against Su Kai's management agency, revealing what insiders are calling the most disturbing case of artist mistreatment in recent memory. Could this be the scandal that finally brings down one of China's most powerful talent agencies? What happened behind those closed doors that was so terrible it forced two of the industry's most private stars to break their silence? The entertainment world woke up to devastating news this morning as reports emerged that Su Kai, the 29-year-old heartthrob known for his roles in the Eternal Love and Arsenal Military Academy, alongside his rumored close friend and frequent co-star Songyun, have allegedly begun speaking out about years of systematic abuse, exploitation, and manipulation at the hands of his management company. The allegations, which sources close to the actors describe as merely the tip of the iceberg, paint a horrifying picture of an industry that has long prioritized profit over the well-being of the artists who generate it. Industry insiders who spoke on condition of anonymity revealed that the situation had been brewing for months, with both actors reportedly reaching their breaking point after a series of incidents that left them no choice but to expose the truth. But why now? What finally pushed these typically reserved celebrities to risk everything by going public? The question on everyone's lips is not just what happened, but how deep does this corruption go, and more importantly, who else knew about it and stayed silent? As fans around the world demand answers and threaten mass boycotts of any projects associated with the agency, the revelation threatens to tear apart the carefully constructed facade of one of China's most successful entertainment companies. The agency, which represents dozens of A-list celebrities and generates billions in revenue annually, now faces its biggest crisis yet as more details continue to emerge by the hour. What could be so damaging that it might end careers, destroy reputations, and potentially lead to criminal investigations? The story begins not with yesterday's explosive revelations, but years ago when Su Kai first signed with the agency as a fresh-faced newcomer with dreams of making it big in the competitive world of Chinese drama. According to sources familiar with the matter, the actor was initially promised the world, comprehensive career development, carefully selected roles that would showcase his talents, and a management team that would have his best interests at heart. Instead, what allegedly followed was a nightmare of control, manipulation, and exploitation that would span nearly his entire career. Former staff members of the agency, speaking anonymously for fear of legal retaliation, describe a corporate culture that viewed artists not as human beings with rights and needs, but as commodities to be exploited for maximum profit with minimal regard for their physical or mental health. The first major red flag, according to these sources, came early in Su Kai's career when he was allegedly forced to accept roles in productions that he had serious concerns about, both artistically and professionally. When he attempted to voice his objections, he was reportedly told in no uncertain terms that he had no say in the matter, that the agency owned his career, and that if he refused to comply, they would ensure he never worked in the industry again. This pattern of coercion and threats allegedly became a regular feature of his relationship with the agency, with the actor essentially becoming a prisoner of his own success. Every time his popularity grew, the agency allegedly tightened its grip, increasing his workload to inhuman levels while simultaneously cutting him off from the very people who might have been able to help him escape the situation. But the control allegedly extended far beyond just his professional life. Sources claim that the agency maintained an iron grip on every aspect of Su Kai's personal life as well, dictating who he could spend time with, monitoring his social media activity, restricting his access to friends and family, and even allegedly interfering in his romantic relationships. The level of surveillance and control was reportedly so extreme that the actor felt he had no privacy whatsoever, with agency representatives allegedly present at nearly every moment of his life, watching, listening, and reporting back to management. This kind of totalitarian oversight, experts say, is not just unethical but potentially illegal, representing a form of psychological abuse that can have lasting effects on a person's mental health and well-being. The financial exploitation, however, may be even more shocking than the personal control. Industry analysts who have reviewed what limited financial information is publicly available about Su Kai's contracts and earnings have expressed astonishment at the apparent discrepancy between his massive popularity and commercial success, and what he may have actually received in compensation. Despite starring in some of the highest-rated dramas of recent years, generating enormous profits for streaming platforms, advertisers, and of course his agency, sources allege that Su Kai saw only a tiny fraction of the money his work generated. The agency reportedly structured his contracts in such a way that they could claim the lion's share of his earnings while leaving him with barely enough to live on, all while maintaining the public appearance that he was one of China's highest-paid actors. This alleged financial manipulation apparently took many forms. Sources describe a complex web of fees, charges, and deductions that the agency would allegedly apply to Su Kai's earnings, From management fees that far exceeded industry standards to mysterious expenses that were charged back to the actor without proper documentation or justification. When Sukai reportedly attempted to question these charges or request a detailed accounting of where his money was going, he was allegedly met with hostility, threats, and in some cases outright intimidation. The agency apparently maintained such tight control over his finances that he had little real understanding of his own economic situation, a deliberate strategy to keep him dependent and compliant. The working conditions that Sukai was allegedly subjected to raise serious questions about labor practices in the Chinese entertainment industry more broadly. Sources describe shooting schedules that would see the actor working 18 to 20 hours a day, sometimes for weeks on end with minimal rest or recovery time. On multiple occasions, he reportedly collapsed from exhaustion on set, only to be given minimal medical attention before being pressured to return to work. The agency allegedly showed little concern for his physical health, viewing any time spent resting or recovering as lost revenue. This disregard for basic human needs apparently extended to denying him adequate nutrition, proper sleep, and even bathroom breaks during long promotional events or filming sessions. The mental and emotional toll of this treatment cannot be overstated. Friends and colleagues who have worked with Sukai describe watching him transform from an enthusiastic and passionate young actor into someone who appeared increasingly exhausted, withdrawn, and deeply unhappy. The constant pressure, lack of autonomy, and relentless work schedule reportedly pushed him to the brink of a breakdown on several occasions. The agency's response to his deteriorating mental health was allegedly to increase surveillance and control rather than provide support, apparently fearful that if he had any breathing room, he might find the courage to speak out or attempt to break his contract. This is where Tan Songyun's role in the story becomes particularly significant. The 31-year-old actress, who has worked with Sukai on several projects, and is known for her bright personality and successful career, apparently witnessed firsthand the toll that the agency's treatment was taking on her friend and colleague. According to sources close to both actors, Tan Songyun became increasingly concerned about Sukai's well-being as they worked together, noticing signs of severe stress, exhaustion, and emotional distress that went far beyond the normal pressures of their profession. Her decision to support him in speaking out and potentially add her own voice to the allegations represents an extraordinary act of courage and solidarity in an industry where staying silent and protecting one's own career is usually the safer choice. The relationship between Sukai and Tan Songyun, long a subject of speculation among fans who ship the on-screen couple, apparently developed into a genuine friendship built on mutual respect and support. Sources suggest that Tan Songyun may have her own experiences with industry mistreatment that make her particularly sympathetic to Sukai's situation, and that she has been a crucial source of emotional support for him, as he has contemplated the enormous risk of going public with his allegations. Her involvement in this expose adds significant weight to the claims, as she has her own established reputation and credibility to bring to bear, and her willingness to potentially damage her own career prospects by association speaks to the seriousness of the allegations. The specific incidents that allegedly finally pushed both actors to break their silence are still emerging, but sources point to several recent events that proved to be the last straw. One particularly disturbing allegation involves a situation where Sukai was reportedly forced to attend a high-profile event despite being seriously ill, with the agency allegedly providing him with medication to mask his symptoms, rather than allowing him to seek proper medical care. The actor apparently performed as required, but his condition deteriorated significantly afterward, requiring hospitalization that the agency then allegedly tried to keep secret from the public to avoid any negative publicity. This incident, sources say, made it clear to Sukai that the agency would literally risk his life rather than see any interruption to their profit stream. Another alleged incident involved the agency blocking Sukai from accepting a role in a prestigious international production that could have significantly advanced his career and provided him with opportunities outside the Chinese market. The agency reportedly rejected the opportunity without even consulting him, apparently fearful that international exposure and contacts might give him leverage to break free from their control. When Sukai learned of this, sources say he was devastated, realizing that the agency was actively sabotaging his long-term career prospects in order to maintain their short-term control over him. This realization apparently marked a turning point in his thinking about his relationship with the agency and whether he could continue to accept their treatment. The financial pressure tactics allegedly employed by the agency became increasingly aggressive in recent months as well. Sources claim that when Sukai began to quietly consult with lawyers about his options for ending his relationship with the agency, they somehow learned of his intentions and responded by threatening enormous financial penalties,